Hey guys, welcome back. In the previous video, we got an overview of the project as a whole and saw what it is we're going to try to create. So we got a ton of work ahead of us. The first thing that we're going to do though is do some prep work and create some of the assets that we'll need in the folder structure that will allow us to keep our project organized. Again, we are using Unreal Engine version 4.11.2 for this tutorial series. Any of the 4.11 versions should work with this, as well as future iterations of the engine as well. We'll try to keep this project updated. Having said that, let's go ahead and get started. We're on the Unreal Project browser and the New Project tab. We're going to use a blueprint template for this. We're going to use the third-person template. Go ahead and make sure that starter content is enabled because we may play with the starter content a little bit later. Give your project a name. I'm just going to call mine the Steam project, like so, and create the project. And the first thing that we're going to do is import some characters that we're going to be using as part of our character select screen. Feel free to use your own characters if you'd like, or if you'd like to follow along, we'll show you where you can get your hands on the assets that we're going to be using, and then you can come in and swap your own characters in later. So my project is loaded. Let me drag it in so you can see it. Going to expand the asset tree because we're going to be working inside of there quite a bit. And like I said, first thing we'll do is import some characters. So I'm going to hop off screen for a second and go to the marketplace. And if you search for Infinity Blade, there's a bunch of free assets to get started that you can kind of play with. We're going to use the Infinity Blade Warriors pack. So I'm just going to click that and should take a second, add it to the project. I'm going to click add to project, and Steam project is what we're going to add it to. And it'll add it to the project for us once it's done. Okay, we no longer need this. I'll just minimize it, I guess. So there's our Infinity Blade Warriors and all the characters. We're not going to use all of these. We're just going to pick 8 of them that we're going to use for our character selection. So we have our characters in. Let's go ahead and set up our folder structure and get that out of the way. So right here on the root content folder, I'm going to right click, new folder. And we'll just call this first folder the blueprints folder. It's going to hold all of our blueprints. Let's right click on the root again, new folder. Call this one maps. Going to hold all our maps. Right click, new folder. And we'll call this textures. It's going to hold our thumbnails of our maps and our characters for the character select screen. And right click, new folder. Call this one UI. It's going to hold all our UI stuff. Now within our blueprints and our UI folders, we're going to have some subfolders in there. So let's start out with the blueprints. Over on this side now, I'm going to right click, new folder. And I'll call this folder all levels. So blueprints that will be used across all levels. Right click, new folder. And we'll call this one characters. Going to hold all of our characters. Right click and new folder. We'll call this one gameplay. So all our gameplay related blueprints. Right click, new folder, and we'll call this one lobby. So all of our lobby related blueprints. So we have those. Let's go down to the UI folder and create some subfolders within it. So we're going to right click, new folder, call this all levels. Right click, new folder. I'll call this one lobby. And then right click, new folder. We'll call this one main menu. So we should have all levels, lobby, and main menu, and all levels, characters, gameplay, and lobby. Okay, I think our folders are set up. We can go inside of each folder and create some of the assets that we're going to be needing. So we'll start out here in the all levels, start there, work our way down. We're not going to go into these assets just yet. We're just going to create them because we'll need them. And we'll need to reference them a little bit later. So having created these up front, it'll just make things easier for us down the road. So inside the All Levels folder, right click. First one we're going to create is a blueprint. And go ahead and expand all classes. And let's search for game instance. So we're going to create a game instance. And the game instance, high level manager object for an instance of the running game. It's kind of like the king of the blueprints, I guess, is one way to put it. We're going to be referencing this quite a bit, so it's going to be sitting on top of everything else. And what's great about this is, as it says here in the tooltip, spawned at game creation and it's never destroyed, so it persists between levels. Even when you change maps, this is still going to persist and not be affected. The only time it goes away is when you shut it down. So game instance, let's go ahead and select it. And we're just going to call it the game info instance. So, okay, next asset that we're going to need, we're going to right click. And for this, we're going to go under blueprints and we're going to create a structure. And we're going to call this player info. And this is going to hold all the info about our player, such as their character, their avatar, their name, etc. Okay, let's right click and let's go to blueprints, blueprint class. Now we're going to be looking for a save game. So save game is what we're looking for here. Go ahead and select it. We'll just call it player save game because I can't think of a better name. And that will save our player's name, avatar, a whole bunch of information. Basically, it's going to save a version of our player info locally and then upload that information to our server, who will distribute that to all of our clients. So our clients knows our names, our characters, etc. So let's save all those real quick. And I think we're done in the all levels folder. Let's go down to characters. Let's see what we want to do in here. For characters, what we'll do is we'll take our, let's actually go down to the third person BP in the blueprints. Let's take this character here, left click and drag and drop him on top of the characters folder. And let's say copy here, because we're going to use this to start. So now we can go into characters and there it is. Let's rename this. I'm going to hit F2 on this and call this 0_base. So it's going to be our base character. Now if we open this up, take just a second to open up, has all that script in there for moving around. So we'll have a character that can move and jump, etc. We won't have to recreate this because this already exists. All of this information already exists. One thing we could do though, if we go to the viewport, let's just do this. We could select the mesh. And if we go down to the skeletal mesh here, I believe there is a base character that comes with the Infinity Blade character. So if you want, go ahead and choose the base character. Once we get towards the end of this, we're going to null out this character anyway, so you won't see it. So it'll just be an empty character running around, something like that. It'll be just an empty shell running around before you select your character. But for now, we're going to use the base character like so. We also are going to assign an animation blueprint here towards the end of this video. We're not going to do it now, but we'll come back and do that as well. So let's compile and save. And let's close this. What we'll do now is create child blueprints from this base character, so it will inherit all of that movement functionality, as well as any other changes that we make to this will be passed on to its children. So it'll make it a lot easier to have different characters down the road. So with this selected, let's right click on it and create a child blueprint class. And we'll call this first one Barbarous. Barbarous is going to be one of the characters that we're going to use from the Infinity Blade Warriors pack. We're going to create the rest of these as well. So I can actually, I think I could just, can I Control W, duplicate it? Yep. Let's go ahead and just select it and Control W to duplicate it and then rename it to Forge. Deselect and select it, Control W, rename this one to Frosty. Select it, duplicate it, call this one Natural. Select it, duplicate it, call this one Pit. Duplicate it, call this one Robo. Duplicate it, call it Tusk. And then duplicate it and call the last one Warrior. So we should have 9 characters here, one of which is a base character. We'll have 8 playable characters that you can choose from. We'll come back and assign their mesh and animation blueprints towards the end of this video. So let's save all. Okay. Next thing, we'll hop down to the gameplay folder. Let's go down there, create 2 blueprints in here. First one is going to be a game mode. So let's say blueprint class, game mode, and we'll call this the gameplay GM. Right click, blueprint class. Now we need a player controller, and we'll call this gameplay PC for player controller. Quick way, we can select both of these and drag them on top of lobby and say copy here. Now if we go into the lobby, rename both of those to lobby game mode and lobby player controller. So let's say lobby game mode, and let's see, lobby player controller. So we'll have game modes and player controllers, one for actual gameplay and one for when we're inside of our lobby. Okay, so those are set. I think all of our blueprints are set. We do need to create some maps. Let's create some maps. So for the maps, what we'll do is let's go ahead and, first of all, clone this existing map that we have. So we have a map here right now, the third-person template. What I'm going to do is select this text here and go to the details panel. And over here, we'll say this is Arena 01. And this is not going to be, this is just a placeholder map to kind of demonstrate how you can choose between different maps. So we're not going to do any level building. We're actually just going to change the name so it looks a little bit different. So I'm going to delete that as well. We don't need that character. We do need to make some adjustments to the player start. If I select it, I notice that this particular template scale for this player start is not one scale. I don't know why this is set to -0.25, but if we were to use this, our characters would spawn in all skewed. So we're going to fix that and change that back to 1, like so. And I can hold Alt and drag out a couple so that we have a couple places to spawn here. Let me select both of them and just move them up off the ground a little bit. I'll select this one now. So I have 3 selected, and I'm going to hold Alt, drag those to the back. So we have 6 spawn points. I guess we could add 2 more. Take 2, hold Alt. Again, this is not a gameplay arena that I would want to play in because there's not a lot of cover, but we just want to demonstrate how you can choose different maps. So we have 8 spawn points now. Looks like some of them are not sitting at the right height. So I'm going to select all of them here in the world outliner. Just pop them up a little bit so they're not bad. There we go. That's fine. So I think that's good. That's going to be Arena 01. So let me go ahead and just save that as Arena 01 inside of our maps. So we'll call this Arena 01. What I'll do now is change this text to say Arena 02. So it's a different one. And we'll also go to the light source. Is it a directional light? Let's see. Light source. Light color. Yeah. So we'll take the light source and we'll just change the color just to give it a different look. Something like this. Maybe it's sunset. Some kind. Like so. And now I'll save this as Arena 02. So it's a separate map. Like so. So we have Arena 2. This is our, well, let's make sure we save everything. This is our Arena 1, so it looks a little bit different. Okay, a couple other maps that we're going to need to create. We're going to need to create a lobby map, a main menu map, and then what's called a transitional map. We'll explain what that one is in a moment here. So first, let's create our lobby map. So for this, I'm going to go to File, New Level, and I'm going to select this here as our lobby map. So I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to save it as lobby. So that's the lobby map. Then going to go to File, New Level. This time I'm going to click the empty level. So the empty level. And I'm going to save this as travel map. So this is the map that we're going to use when we travel from the lobby to actual gameplay. It's good. And I'm also going to save this level again. So I'm going to save as one more time. And this one's going to be the main menu. So our main menu map. And we should be on main menu now. So let's save everything. So those are the maps that we will need. We are good to go. We're not going to worry about doing anything in the textures yet. We're going to save that for a different video. But let's do our UI assets. Let's go ahead and do that. So go down to all levels there. And inside of here, we're going to need to start creating some widget blueprints, which will be used for our UI. So I'm going to right click. User interface is what we need now, widget blueprint. And this should be called chat text. And we're going to use this for the chat message, the text that appears in our chat window. So I enter some text, it's going to appear in this. Then we're going to select this and hit Control W to duplicate it, and we'll call this chat window. So our actual window with all of our individual chat text lines. Let's go ahead and duplicate this one more time. We're going to call this gameplay chat. So when we're in the gameplay map, we'll use this one. When we're in the lobby, we'll use that one. Let's go ahead and duplicate one more time. Let's call this loading screen. So chat text, chat window, gameplay chat, and loading screen. Go ahead and save all those. Let's go down to the lobby folder now. And let's create some more widget blueprints. So under user interface, widget blueprint, we'll call this character select. So our character select screen, select this and duplicate it. We'll call this connected player. We're going to use this for the player card. When somebody joins the lobby, this is what the widget that will represent them. Let's duplicate this. Call this game settings. So the game settings window that the server can define. Let's Control W, duplicate it. Let's call this the lobby menu. So the actual lobby menu, what that looks like. And we're going to do one more in here. We'll call this player button. And this player button is going to be used for the server only. This will allow the server to kick somebody from the lobby if they so desire. So let's save all those. And then let's go down to the main menu folder. There's a couple more that we need to create. So inside here, right-click, user interface, widget blueprint. We'll call this error dialog. So if we have any error dialog messages on the front end, traveling, etc., we'll put that in there. Let's Control W. We'll call this one host menu. And this is what happens when the player on the main menu chooses to host a game. They'll get a menu where they can set up their server. Control W. Let's call this main menu. So the main menu itself. Control W. And we'll call this one options menu. So the actual options menu. And then one more, Control W, we'll call this server menu. And this is what happens when you click find a game. You'll be presented with this menu. Okay, let's save all of those. And most of our assets should be set up. There's a couple things that we'll need to do inside the project settings. And then we'll do some animation retargeting to set up our animation blueprints, and then we'll wrap this video. So let's go to the project settings. And maps and modes. Let's set our defaults now. So for the editor startup, go ahead and set that to main menu. Go ahead and set game default to main menu. Can expand this now. And there's the transition map, the map loaded when transitioning from one map to another. Let's go ahead and click this and assign travel map. So, and our server default map will make that main menu as well. So, default game mode is fine. We can leave that as it is for now. The game instance, though, we do need to set it to use our game instance that we created. So the game info instance. Go ahead and set that. And that should be all we need to do inside the project settings. We don't need to save it because it saves automatically. And let's close that out. So all of our project settings are set up. Last thing that we'll do in this video is set up the animation blueprint for our characters, because our Infinity Blade warriors do not have any animations with them. They are just the skeletal meshes. So we'll use the animations that come with the mannequin here as the animations for our characters. Again, we're not working on the gameplay side of things. We're working on getting clients connected to a server, etc. Maybe down the road we'll come back and make some more unique characters. So what we'll do is we need to go to the mannequin, we need to go to the character, we need to go to the mesh and open up the skeleton. Let's go ahead and double click, open that up. And we're going to do some animation retargeting. There's a whole Working with Skeletons video series that kind of breaks this process down for you if you'd like to check that out. But we're going to try and get through this as quickly as we can. So we're just going to click the Retarget Manager here. It's going to pop open a window. Go to the Setup Rig. Click the Humanoid. So now we have a rig that corresponds to all the bones on our skeleton. Let's close this out. Save this. Close Close this out. Now we need to go to the Infinity Blade Warriors, characters, complete characters, open up its skeleton. Double click, open that up. Retarget manager. Set up rig. Set it to use the humanoid rig, just like we did the other one. Close it, save it, and close it. So now what we can do is we go back to the mannequin folder in the animations, this animation blueprint here. We can right click on this, retarget animation blueprint, duplicate the animation blueprints, and retarget the animation. So go ahead and select this. In this window here, you click the only option, should be the only option there. Select that, and go ahead and choose retarget. Take just a second to retarget all those animations, which it did. So here's our animation blueprint. Let me collapse all this stuff real quick. It's just bugging me. We probably could have put that in a folder better than the root folder here. Let's see, do we want to do that? Let's just do that. Let's create a folder inside of the Infinity Blade Warriors pack, just for cleanliness. We'll call it animations. If you go to the content, all of that stuff, just select the first one, hold shift, select the last one. Put those inside the animations folder. We'll say move here, just so they're not sitting in the root content folder. So they're now under animations. Let's rename this one from third person MVP. We'll call this, let's just say 0 base anim BP. So 0 base anim BP. So now what we can do is we can go to our characters. And let's go to the base character here, open him up. Go to the viewport, select the mesh, and click the drop down here for anim class, and select 0 base anim BP. Now we should start idling, which is what we want. Let's compile and save, and close this out. Now what's cool is all of these blueprints have been updated, so we don't have to do anything except assign the mesh. So if I open up each of these and assign the mesh, let's open him up. He's already idling. I can select the mesh. Let's change it. This guy is Barbarous, so we could search for that. There's Barbarous. Go ahead and select that. So now there's a new character idling for us. Perfect. Again, he doesn't have any script on here because it's all inherited from our base class. So if we wanted to provide some custom functionality for this character, we could do that here. So let's save that. Barbarous is set up. Do the same for the rest of these characters here. So we'll open up this and we'll go to full blueprint editor, mesh, change the type to forge, select them. Let's go to the viewport, make sure. Yep. So there's forge, compile and save, close that. Open up Frosty, full blueprint editor, viewport, mesh. This character is actually called Frosted Giant. I just called him Frosty because that's cooler. So Frost Giant, there we go. Compile and save, close that. Let's open up natural, viewport, mesh, natural, like so. Compile and save, close that. Couple more. Let's change it to pit. There's a lot of cool characters in this pack that are available for free. There's also the, I forgot what the other one's called, Adversaries, I think it is, that has additional characters in it that you can use as well if you'd like. Let's open this one up. Call this Robo. And you know what you could also do? Let's see. Compile and save. For these last two, we'll do it. Tusk. We can change it right here on the defaults. You were probably saying, why didn't you just change it on the defaults right there? Because I wanted to see it in the actual editor too as well. Compile and save. So if I open it up in here, just to make sure. So Warrior. Let's click this. Warrior. He should be down at the bottom. There he is. Okay, compile and save, and close it. Okay, we're actually going to pause here. We did a lot of prep there in this video. We're going to break, and we're going to pick it back up in the next video where we start working on the game info instance blueprint, which will set up our front end and our main menu, etc. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you then.